on a beautiful and, dare I say, un-February-like Saturday afternoon in Fitchburg. It is Hockey Night in Fitchburg here on FATV. I'm John Gruberty, joined, of course, by Dan Bolak. And Dan, do you feel that in the air? Feels a little different. It feels like there might be a rivalry on ice today.
I think so. It is that type of weekend, a rivalry weekend here in Fitchburg, as we're going to have the third of three meetings this year between the Red Raiders of Fitchburg-Montech and the Blue Devils of Leominster.
Fitchburg-Montech comes in with a record 9-6 overall. They are 7-3 in the Coughlin Conference. Over in the Roy Conference, it's been a very difficult season for the Blue Devils. 1-15 overall, 1-6 in the conference. And that one win, well, there might be some explaining that needs to happen regarding it.
Yes, the Leominster faithful who've been watching the season will be screaming at their televisions and their computer monitors and their phones saying, wait a minute, we haven't won a game this year. However, in the last 48 hours, a decision has been made. Leominster has, in fact, won a game this year because Wachusett, back on January the 7th, they beat Leominster 7-0. However, it has since come out that Wachusett, to use layman's terms, did a very bad thing.
No, I don't want the layman's terms. Hit me with the jargon. Hit me with the jargoniest jargon you've got.
They used an ineligible player, and they had to forfeit 8 games.
See, I was hoping you would say they did a very bad thing. That would be the jargon. But yes, so Wachusett had to forfeit that game, giving Leominster their one and only win on the season. It's been a very difficult campaign for the Blue Devils. We got a chance to speak a little bit with their head coach, Frank Mooney, before the game, and it just comes down to, youth and size for Leominster. This team is in, it's the cyclical nature of this kind of part of the world, I guess you could say. It's been a tough year, a rebuilding year for the Blue Devils, but they've got some talented young players.
They do. And yes, for Leominster, we know they've got talent. They've had talent historically through the Blue Devil Ice Hockey pipeline. After all, a couple of Blue Devils playing with Fitchburg State right now in Jeremy Millette and Corey Tumanis and Cam Isabel. But this year, they just have not had it. They've not had what they've needed and what they've had historically. Coming in, again, officially 1-15, but on the ice, they've lost all 16 games. So 13 goals for and 136 against with the official games, the 15 that have been played. And obviously some challenges there. Will Parker and Declan Calais are the standout players for the Blue Devils this year, each with 2 goals and 2 assists. Brandon LeBlanc also a standout with a goal and 2 assists. A shame all 3 of them are seniors, too.
Sorry
Kyle Moyen is a freshman, though. That's some young talent to keep your eyes on. Team leading 3 goals on the campaign. And so Leominster, they've played Fitchburg-Montech twice, lost 4-1 and lost 7-1. Those are 2 of their more competitive games this year. And we were talking with Steve Lowney, the head coach of Fitchburg-Montech, and as he pointed out, a good reason not to look past this Leominster side is you think about the schedule that Leominster has played, and as he pointed out, if Fitchburg-Montech was playing that same schedule, they might have that 1-15 record too.
That was one of the questions we had for Coach Lowney in our pregame interview. What do you tell your guys in the locker room when they're coming in? They can see the record book just as easily as anyone else. How do you keep them motivated? And Coach Lowney, as you said, Dan, pointed out, he said directly to his players, if you guys had the same schedule that these guys have, you might have the same record. So this is absolutely not going to be a cakewalk for the Fitchburg-Montech Red Raiders, although they hope, Dan, to be a bit of in a celebratory mood because it is, after all, Senior Day here at the Wallace Civic Center.
Indeed, 5 seniors for the Fitchburg-Montech side. Zach Plunkett, Tyler Broussard, Cole Howard, Lucas Richard, and Wyatt Peters all going to be honored today. All from a mix of teams. Howard, Richard, and Peters from Montech, Broussard from Fitchburg High, and Zach Plunkett from Goodrich Academy. That's part of the Fitchburg Public School System. They have access to that as part of Fitchburg. So he gets to play as well with that. And so those 5 players will all be honored today. It's the final regular season home game for the Red Raiders. They do have 2 makeup games after this against Worcester on the 15th and Shawsheen on the 21st. Those are both on the road. Next time they're going to be playing here at the Civic Center would be a playoff game.
And Fitchburg-Montech hopes to come in to the playoffs with some momentum. As we mentioned, they are second in the Coughlin Conference, 9-6 overall, 7-3 in the conference, so they can't catch Littleton and Bromfield undefeated in the Coughlin. Although Fitchburg has more goals and has conceded fewer. So it's just about timing and distribution for Littleton and Bromfield, I guess.
You could put it that way. And in the overall power ratings, Fitchburg-Montech enters today 21st in Division 4 with a rating of minus 1.16. Leominster, on the other end, second to last in Division 2 with a minus 252. It's just to get an idea of how those two teams compare. Fitchburg Monitech should safely be in the playoff field as a top 32 team in Division 4, but a win today will guarantee that they will definitely be in the state playoffs, as that will get them a 10th win and guarantee no worse than a 500 finish in the regular season.
A lot to play for both sides here on Hockey Night in Fitchburg on FATV. I think we're just about ready for the introduction of the starting lineups and our national anthem. Dan, you mentioned 5 seniors on this Fitchburg Monitech roster, and those are your starting 5 for the Red Raiders. Zach Plunkett, Tyler Brassard, Cole Howard, Lucas Richard, and Wyatt Peters. All 5 graduating seniors will be on the ice as we drop the puck here at the Wallace Civic Center.
Indeed, and we're talking with Coach Lowney. He mentioned, this is the first time in a long time that the Stars have been able to align in such a way that you're able to, ice a starting 5 of forwards and defensemen of all seniors like that without leaving anybody out, not having to worry about any other things, or having only 4 seniors and then having to figure out who's your 5th guy going to be. Doesn't have to worry about any of that this year. It just aligned perfectly this year. 5 skaters as seniors, 5 skaters get to start there for the Red Raiders.
It'll be a sophomore in net, Easton Minardi, his 9th start of the season. Goals against about 2.1 on the year for Minardi. I'm sorry, Dan.
Yep, save percentage around .917 as well, estimated, and all of that. Minardi and Owen Richard have been alternating starts over the last handful of games. This will be the 6th straight game in which those 2 have alternated.
We'll step aside for the national anthem and be back in just a moment. It's Hockey Night in Fitchburg on FATV. Hockey Night in Fitchburg here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined as always by Dan Bullock. Before we get underway, we want to send thanks to our Executive Director, Nathan Glennie, running camera and setting up everything you see and hear here today at the Civic Center. Nate does a fantastic job, not only on the technical side, but as an ambassador of FATV to the community. And he didn't even pay me to say that. It's just a true fact. It's how I feel. He's really good. And he just hit me, so I take it all back, actually. He's a monster. He's a horrible boss. How do you work for this man, Daniel?
It's not that difficult.
We are just about set for the first period. It is the rivalry on ice. Fitchburg Monty will be on the left side of your screen here in the first period, wearing the white jerseys with red numbers and trim, black shorts for the Red Raiders. Other side for the Blue Devils, they also go with the black shorts, but they match those with the blue and black jerseys with white numbers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Hockey's a good-looking sport, Dan. It's a good-looking game.
Indeed. We're blessed with another good-looking game on Thursday. We'll have another one today. Get ready for the opening draw. Zach Plunkett to take the draw against Will Parker. Blue Devils will win it, and we are underway. Tyler Broussard trying to steal that puck away and quickly get a shot towards Jordan Boulay. That one goes off the side of the net, now lifted towards goal by Lucas Richard, and that one goes wide to the right. Wyatt Peters moving that one along and shaking off one of the Blue Devils. Pass to the slot over the stick of Cole Howard and all the way down to Easton Minardi, who will cover that up as he doesn't like the lurking Declan Calais there, trying to cause trouble, and we'll get our first stoppage of play 24 seconds in.
Going to be interesting to see how long Steve Lowney keeps his seniors on the ice. Can't imagine they've seen a ton of ice time as a singular unit, but it is senior day. You want to get them a proper first shift.
Indeed, and then you look at the roster. We said it is, 5 skaters perfectly for Fitchburg Monty Tech. It's actually 2 forwards and 3 defensemen. Zach Plunkett, who was listed as a defenseman, was the one taking the face-offs. But I can tell you, positions can be flexible at times. For instance, Aiden Dale, who was listed as a forward, was announced as a defenseman. Declan Calais, who's listed as a defenseman, was announced as a forward in the starting lineups. And there's Colin Hines out on the ice. He gets a shot off, and he scores! On the second effort, the first shot cut down in front. The second chance finds its way through. 53 seconds in. First strike to Fitchburg Monty Tech.
Senior day at the Civic Center. The Red Raiders start 5 seniors on ice. So who gets the first goal? Of course, a junior. That makes sense.
Indeed it is. Colin Hines getting that one. A team-leading 15th goal of the season for the junior. That's the first strike. Just so quickly into this contest. We mentioned these teams have already played twice this year. They played in the opener back on December the 10th. And in that game, Fitchburg Monty Tech got 50 shots on goal. Logan Wood was very strong in net, making 46 stops. As there's a shot that's going to be gloved by Boulay off the stick of Brett Mayu. I did sort of mention, this is the type of weekend for a rivalry because after all, Fitchburg and Leominster actually played last night on the hardwood at the Grutchfield Fieldhouse. Girls basketball, that was a win for Leominster.
Red Raiders looking to even things up on this rivalry weekend.
So just getting the confirmation on the scoring. It was Hines from Jaramillo. That shot gets through, and Boulay able to turn it aside. But yeah, the Red Raiders able to win on the hardwood on the boys' side last night as well. Now 8 wins in a row for the Fitchburg boys basketball team as we have a delayed penalty in our first power play. We'll go to the Blue Devils with 13:10 to go in the first.
It will be Jaramillo going to the box. I think they're going to get him for tripping back in the left wing corner. He'll sit for 2 minutes, think about what he's done.
So we'll get to see what the Leominster power play looks like for the first time today. Both the goals that Leominster has against Fitchburg Monty Tech this year have come on the power play. They lost 4-1 to Fitchburg Monty Tech in the opener, lost in the consolation game with a Bushnell, 7-1. Both of those, as we mentioned, power play strikes. Ronan Duvall had the latter, Will Parker had the former. So it comes out to the right point, Adu gets a shot, and that's patted aside by Easton Minardi. Another chance in front, looking for a redirection, and it popped just wide off the stick of Kyle Moyen, looking for his 4th of the year. Thrown all the way down, and Leominster will go and reset. Slashing was the official call against Jaramillo. He's trying to settle that down is Calais at the left point. Held there for a moment by Dylan Gaudreau, but now cleared out of the zone. Blue Devils will settle it, try to bring it back in. Out of the reach of Moyen. On the left side, it's picked up. Gaudreau still holding on to it. Now he blows a tire, loses the puck. And it's cleared out of the zone. Some pressure there by Kyle Gendron. Gendron will attack the puck carrier there. Moving along, forcing a turnover. There's some nifty moves there by Colin Hines, looking for another.
He beat 3 Blue Devils, but he had to beat 4.
That's a lot to ask for. Ryan Padden will go and collect in the left wing corner in the Raider zone. He's bodied into the boards. Cam Begnosh put it off the boards to the near side. Cody Berkio with 27 to go. Here's a chance. That one put wide. Hines couldn't get a good release on that one.
Hines is going to be seeing that in his memories for a few days, Dan. He had a wide open opportunity on net.
He had a good chance, but just not able to get good wood on it. Another shot thrown in on Minardi. He pads that away. Now stretch pass for Berkio, splitting the defenders with the breakaway and the moves. And Boulay able to keep that out.
I don't think Boulay knew he had made the save. He got his left skate on it, but then he was looking around expecting to see the rebound trickle out, but he had actually pinned it between his skate and the pipe. Referee lost sight of the puck, blew the whistle.
I think on that play, Berkio was trying to bank it off that left pad of Boulay and into the net, and I think Boulay probably thought that Berkio had succeeded in doing just that, but the puck got stuck under the pad and under the skate, and so it stayed out. Instead, it's a nice save for the senior goalkeeper for the Blue Devils. Raiders win the draw, throwing it around the boards. Hunter Kucher will go and try to pick that up on the left side, battling with Aiden Dale. Leominster will take control, bring it to the near side. Carter Moget will throw it into the Raider end, where it will be collected by Mayu. Mayu off the boards, over the stick of Kucher, flipped up into the slot. There's a chance, and that one turned aside by Menardi off the stick of Jaden Farabee. Farabee was looking for his first goal of the season's on that one. Had a pretty good opportunity, just wasn't able to beat the sophomore keeper.
Nice little backhand wrist shot, but Menardi was equal to the task.
Now Nick Paquette trying to jam that one in, and he succeeds in doing just that. The Raiders have their second less than 5 minutes in.
Just came in from the left side of Boulay, went right through the 5-hole. Senior keeper wasn't quick enough to react. Poked it in, made it 2-0.
So for Nick Paquette, it'll be his 6th goal of the season for the junior out of Monty Tech. It's 2-0 to the red and gray. The lone assist goes to Austin Haas. The sophomore forward will get his 2nd assist of the campaign. So 2-0 to the Red Raiders as Jaramillo skates it up, overskates it a little bit, but gets it to Hines. Hines with a shot, and that's turned aside by Boulay. 9:50 go in the first, 2-0 to Fitchburg Monty Tech. We have mentioned that it has been a challenging season for Leominster. Over the last 6 games, they've been outscored 62-2. There are 2 goals coming on senior night against Groton Dunstable. Other than that, shutouts, and by large margins, 11-0 to Algonquin, 10-0 Marlborough, 13-0 to Lexington, 10-0 to Neshoba, and 8-0 most recently on Monday to North Middlesex. But it is a challenging schedule. Those are all really good teams, too. I'm not going to say that Fitchburg, Coach Lowney did mention, that Fitchburg Monty Tech might have the same record. Maybe not giving up as many goals, but it would still be rather challenging all of those games if they were playing them against those opponents.
Hey, you got to give the Blue Devils credit. They didn't look for any cupcakes. They decided to take on D2 head on, and they're paying for it.
I mean, they are a Division II squad, so they're going to try to schedule those games against the D1s, the D2s, the D3s, whoever they can find, whoever slots in well enough for them. And they have a solid strength of schedule. I mean, they have a minus 2.6 basically on their own score. That's the goal differentials. We've got a penalty coming up here as one of the Raiders sent hard into the boards. But with a minus 252, that means they have a strength of schedule in the black. And so they have a solid strength of schedule. It's just a matter of they've just not gotten the results.
Lucas Richard slow to get up for the Red Raiders. See him doubled over there, but heading back to the bench under his own power.
His counterpart on the other side wearing number 11. Brandon LeBlanc was the one who delivered that blow. It'll be 2 minutes on the penalty board. And the Red Raiders will have their first power play of the contest. The Raiders will send their top line out, 4 forwards, with Wyatt Peters, one of the seniors, serving as the lone defenseman. And it comes to Peters now at the point. He'll wind and fire. That stopped. Rebound loose for a moment, but Boulay able to get his glove on the left hand down and cover it from view. 11 seconds ticking off the power play.
Cody Berkio was right there, tried to jam that rebound in with the backhand, but Boulay recovered well and he was able to cover up.
So the draw comes to the left of Boulay. He's got the red goalkeeper pads and gloves.
It's got to be awkward. I mean, I know you only have so many opportunities to buy pads, but you're a Leominster kid and you buy red and white pads, really?
Things happen sometimes. May go better with the club team if he plays there. There's a shot and a save by Boulay. He sticks with that one.
I mean, I chose not to wear a blue sweater vest today. Now, granted, pads are slightly more expensive than big and tall sweater vests, but you get my point.
Minute 15 to go on the power play for the Red Raiders. We're approaching the halfway point of this first period. See, working methodically on this power play as it goes to Hines. Now out to Peters. Out to the left side, through the legs of Jaramillo. He'll circle around, he'll pick that up. Berkio will try to move it back to Jaramillo, back to Berkio. Behind the net, shaking off the hit there. Just going right out in front, trying to hit it on the far post. Try to find a sliver of space, but Boulay able to get his shoulder across and keep that out. Now Paquette trying to half shoot it, half pass it. Didn't get really either result. More of a pass in the end as it wasn't on target. 35 on the power, 7:10 to go in the first, 2-0 Raiders. Jaramillo trying to break in and get a shot off, but it's knocked off his stick at the last moment. Raiders keep it in the zone. Peters, he shoots high, a riser, misses the mark. Now overskated on the far side by Jaramillo. Now comes out to Jaramillo, moves in front. Paquette nearly had that one go through. Thought for sure he was going to nail it. Just couldn't get it cleanly enough, and that was just enough disruption. And a penalty against Leominster for the trip with 6 seconds to go on the penalty to LeBlanc. It's going to be a 5-on-3.
I believe we have Ed Reynolds going to the bench. Dan, do you have a 12 on your roster for Leominster?
I do not.
Okay. Who wore 12 for the Red Sox? Jed Lowry? Jed Lowry going to the box. I could go for a really old reference and say Will Cordero, but who wants to remember Will Cordero, honestly?
2 minutes for the mystery man. If we listen to PA announcer really closely enough, we might be able to pick up the name. The 5-on-3 expires and now turns into a regular power play. As LeBlanc gets out of the box. Now it's cleared out of the zone and down the ice. I forgot to ask the standard question I asked coaches. I don't think he knows either.
Nope. No, he absolutely does not.
So, yeah, I forgot to ask the standard question, is there anyone on this roster that I'm missing? I asked that question to Kevin Lazard on Thursday when I did Littleton Bromfield, and he had a bunch of players on his roster that I was missing. Unfortunately for me, they were all scratched, so it worked out. 65 seconds to go on this power play for Fitchburg Monty Tech, their second of the contest. 5:43 to go in the first period. 2-0 to the Red Raiders on goals for Hines and Paquette. Shots 9-4 in favor of the Red Raiders. Here's Jacob Pruno into the zone. Pruno to the left circle, drops off on the left side for Gendron. Now check that, that's Jaramillo. Now thrown out in front, Hines trying to settle it, can't get it settled quickly enough. Blue Devils not going to be able to clear it out of the zone that cleanly, and Peters able to keep it in. Pruno trying to throw it back towards goal, but knocked off a skate of a Blue Devil. 28 to go on the power, and that shot redirects wide. Boulay may have gotten a piece. Now around the boards behind the net, Berkio looking for some space. Got a tough angle shot. Didn't quite get it on target though. Off the back of the net. Hines' shot is blocked. He'll get it right back though with 6 seconds to go on the power. Jaramillo holding, still holding, moving it along to the left side. Stumbles down to the ice, no penalty there. We're back to full strength. As out of the box comes Luxury Yatched. And he'll come right to the bench for a line change. Zayden Dale will come and spell him.
That stretch of 2 consecutive penalty kills might have been the longest 4 minutes of Jordan Boulet's life. He was under constant pressure. Somehow managed to keep the Red Raiders out of the net.
Indeed, he did. And now skating up ice with speed is Kucher. Kucher into the zone, gets the shot off, save, rebound, loose. That one stopped by Boulet as well, as he was able to make his way to the right and stick with that puck and stop that from going in. Up to 9 saves on the contest is the senior. Let's try to throw it out in front for Gendron. Wasn't able to get a clean release. He gets that one off and a save by Boulet. Can't track the rebound, but his teammates will bail him out and clear it down the length of the ice.
You really get a sense, Dan, of the size and speed difference between these two teams just watching the players on the ice. It's a very difficult situation for any goaltender, you know, speaking specifically about Boulet, but I'm sure you've been in a situation where the other team is just bigger and they're skating faster and they're controlling the puck and they're getting shots off basically at will.
Yeah, I've definitely played teams in street hockey that are that tough. I think the second game I ever played, I want to say we lost 14-1. And I gave up all those goals in the first 2 periods too. They went pass heavy in the third. They did take shots. I just happened to stop all of those. And the game ended because one of the players on the winning team wanted to knock my friend into next week.
Oh.
Yeah. Fun times. Anyway, the penalty was against Cam Bagnosh for an interference. And so Leominster will have their second power play of the contest. Jordan Adu bringing it in, gets the pass off for Calais, not able to get the clean release.
It was a dangerous centering pass. Declan Calais just couldn't keep up with it.
And that one's floated through everyone, but Minardi had to make some evasive moves to get to that puck and keep that out. Now Tyler Broussard trying to win this one away, but Calais with the pace will pick that up, keep that away. Now moves it along for Will Parker. Where's that captain's C on the chest? And now, with some space and time to work, is Broussard. He makes the pass off, but there's nobody there on the other side. Howard was behind him and not to the side. Now Calais storming into the zone. Gets a shot away, and it's turned aside by Minardi. Off the boards, can't be kept in by Tyler Woods. He'll come out to the near side. Picked up by Cody Larson. Larson gets the shot off. Minardi will make the stop, and he'll hold for a draw. 2:23 to go in the first. 2-0 to the Red Raiders.
And you have to credit Jordan Boulet, Dan. It could easily be 4-5-0 in favor of Fitchburg Monty Tech just from the way they've controlled the pace of play.
There are some games missing from the TNG website in terms of goaltender statistics, so we don't have a full view on what Jordan Boulet's skills are, but in the games that were present, he had a goals against around 11 and a save percentage around 766. Those are just of the games that they have on the TNG. There are, I imagine, other games that would definitely make him look better than that. But that's just what we've got. He's been mainly the backup this year to Logan Wood, who's played 8 games in terms of the games that, again, are available on the TNG website. has a goals against of 773 and a save percentage of 794. Those are pretty close to my deck hockey numbers, just for comparison's sake. Just to also mention, yes, I've played goal in street hockey. I'm not very good at it.
Big hit on the far side board, sends players toppling over one another.
See the teams really grind it up. Big hits, not afraid to take advantage of. It's the rivalry after all, and these two teams playing like two rivals. The penalty in Begnosh has long since expired, and we are back to full strength. 70 seconds to go in the period, 2-0 to the Red Raiders. It's the third and last time that Leominster is playing a Division IV team this year, which Fitchburg Monty Tech is. We mentioned mostly 1s and 2s and a handful of 3s in there as well. It's Jaramillo skating in out in front. Great save by Boulay. He robs Cody Berkio. Now on the right side, trying to pass it back to Berkio again, not able to get it settled on his stick. Good pressure from Leominster. It's moved out to the neutral zone. Off Jaramillo, stick at the red line and back in. Jordan Adu holding on to it. Jaramillo standing in the way there. Calais back for Adu. Behind the net, Berkio saying, I would like to have the puck now. But the Blue Devils aren't going to let him have it.
That's rude.
Out of the zone. And dumped right back in by Fitchburg Monty Tech. Thrown off the boards for Farabee. Out to the left side, Carter Moget. With 5 seconds to go in the period. Raiders will just clear it out of the zone. And I think the Blue Devils feel that's good enough for this first period of play. Shots 13-6 through one period. 2-0 Fitchburg Monty Tech in front through 15 minutes of play.
Dan, you look at the records, the scoring margins for these teams. You look at the two times they've met earlier in the season, and you come into this game thinking, yeah, it will most likely be one-sided in favor of Fitchburg Monty Tech, but hey, you never know. Well, sometimes you know. This first period went pretty much as was expected, I would say.
It feels about right there. As we've noted, Fitchburg Monty Tech has been the better team this year. 9-6 coming into today's contest, a win away from guaranteeing themselves a spot in the MIAA postseason, whereas Leominster 1-15, 0-16 on the ice, and just looking for, they're not just playing out the string, but they're trying to play out strong necessarily. They've got a great game, great matchup between them and their arch rivals, and then they'll have Wachusett on February 20th, a game that will certainly count.
Oh, absolutely. And, again, we were speaking with Coach Frank Mooney just in his third season as head coach of the Blue Devils before the game. And, he recognizes the situation the team's in. They've got a very young squad. It's difficult to be in that position, but, credit to the Blue Devils. They've played out the season. They are not, just mailing it in. These guys are playing hard.
If they'll come to play every night. I mean, you look at the score lines, as we've mentioned, a lot of those double-digit defeats, but, they'll come back and play every night. They enjoy playing ice hockey. They come out here to play, and they'll give you 45 minutes of hockey, and they'll try to put up a fight. That first period was a solid period for Boulay, 11 saves in that first frame. Definitely making those numbers come a lot better now.
Absolutely. We have seen 15 of the 45, still 30 to go. Come on back for the second period in just a little bit. It's Hockey Night in Fitchburg here on FATV. We are back at the Wallace Civic Center here on Hockey Night in Fitchburg on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined as always by Dan Bolak. And Dan, I hate to do this, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there is a tragic passing that must be reported. My water bottle's seal integrity has failed, and it will be thrown away when I get to my car. It's a sad day.
It is. I had my water bottle down, and there was a big puddle of water there, and I thought for a little while that it was my water bottle.
No.
But
no.
The rumors of my water bottle's demise were, in fact, greatly exaggerated.
It's a sad day for us all. I like this. It's got a white birch pattern, and nobody cares. We're talking about hockey. Fitchburg Monty Tech leads Leominster 2-0 after 15 minutes of play here on the ice at the Wallace Civic Center. And 2-0, if anything, is a little bit generous to Leominster, Dan. It could have easily been 3 or 4 goals for the Red Raiders in that first period.
Yeah, that's what it felt like for me, at least, with Fitchburg Monty Tech. They definitely had the run of play in that first 15 minutes. Outshot the Blue Devils 13-6. A lot of good chances on Jordan Boulay. and a lot of empty nets missed, basically. But Boulay was able to get himself in the right spot in the right time and make a few saves as well to keep it down to just 2 goals in the first 15.
Yeah, you really have to credit Boulay. I called out at the moment the 4 consecutive minutes of penalty kill that Leominster was able to handle, and most of that was due to the efforts of their goaltender. So credit to him. We'll see if the Blue Devils can get back into this one. We are just about ready for the second period. Teams have switched sides, so Leominster's on the left, Fitchburg on the right. And here we go. Jaramillo wins the faceoff for the Red Raiders, sends it to the back. Brett Mayu will give chase. He's harangued there by Brandon LeBlanc. LeBlanc takes it, tries the wraparound, but it's poked away from him, rather, by Mayu. Cleared out of the zone. Now Berkio's 1-on-2. Cody Berkio takes the shot and scores! Cody Berkio from the slot, just 19 seconds into the second period. He beats Boulay to the right side, makes it 3-0 in favor of Fitchburg Monty Tech.
That talented junior class strikes again for the red and gray. Cody Berkio's 11th goal of the season just came into the zone with pace, some time. He picked his spot and he nailed it.
Nothing fancy about it, just line up, take the shot, beat the goaltender. It's an easy game when it works. Off the face-off, dumped in, comes in on Minardi. He steers it away. Red Raiders are able to clear. Jaramillo pokes it out for Berkio. Now Jaramillo takes it across the Leominster blue line, and he'll go behind the net. Trying to find Alex Armstrong, not going to quite get there. He'll be sent back the other way, pursued by Colin Hines. Hines sends it back to Jaramillo. He's under pressure from Cody Larson. Comes back to the left wing corner. Hayden Dale tries to clear, can't do it. Jaramillo's shot is steered away. Leominster's able to get it out. Mayu sends it right back in. Grabbed there for the Blue Devils. This is Declan Calais coming up with some pace. Tries to take on 2 defenders, can't get past Alex Armstrong. Centering pass by Calais finds no one. Chance now going the other way for Fitchburg Monty Tech. Kyle Gendron's got it. Jaramillo's to his left. Gendron shoots. Save made by Boulay. Shot from deep near the blue line by Armstrong is deflected. Never gets in on Boulay. Sent along the far side boards by Jackson Leader. No, excuse me, that was Will Parker. I was looking at the wrong side of the roster. Entirely my fault. Loose puck in the slot. Grab there. Shot save made by Boulay. A couple of players take high stick whacks at it. Fortunately, nobody hits the puck, so the play continues to be live. Loose in front of the ice. Turnaround shot by Gendron goes wide. Gendron regathers in the corner, but it's poked clear. Comes back out to Armstrong at center ice. He shoots from there. Boulay catches and dumps it off. Jordan Adu tries to clear, can't quite do it. Kucher's there, fighting with Turner. Now goes back to the right wing corner. Jacob Pruno gives chase for the Red Raiders. Centering pass, poked in, no, steered away. Cleared now by the Blue Devils. Turner gives chase, delivers a mighty wallop to Zach Plunkett, but he doesn't have the puck. Instead, it's being battled for in front of the Leominster end. Pruno's shot goes wide. Cleared out once again by the Blue Devils, sent right back in by Wyatt Peters. Peters again backhands it in. And again, it's grabbed by our mystery man wearing number 12. Luxury Yatched is able to clear. Gets across the red line into Fitchburg's territory. Zach Plunkett will send it all the way back down, and we will get an icing. 11:54 to go here in the second period. 3-0 Fitchburg Monty Tech.
I know I didn't mention it earlier. Last time out for these two teams, Leominster lost 8-0 to North Middlesex on Monday. Logan Wood had the start in that one. 33 saves for that. Fitchburg Monty Tech needed overtime to take down Oakmont 6-5. Sam Jaramillo had 2 goals, including the winner. Jacob Pruno 2 goals. Cody Berkio had a goal, and so did Hunter Kucher. And that's interesting, I think, for Kucher, who last year played for Oakmont and scored a goal against Fitchburg Monty Tech. He's now played for Fitchburg Monty Tech and scored a goal against Oakmont.
Funny. An interesting little thing on his punch card.
Funny how that works.
Another icing committed by the Red Raiders. We'll keep it back down. Faceoff will come to the left of Easton Minardi.
Yep. And Owen Richard got the win for the Red Raiders in that one. Richard played for Oakmont 2 years ago during the pandemic season. Got into a period against Leominster, which was a half back then.
Yeah, the pandemic was Calvin ball in so many different ways.
It was.
Cleared out by the Blue Devils. Comes back to center ice. Paquette gets it back in, but that's about all as it's sent right back out by Leominster. Comes back to the stick of Nick Paquette. He spins around, eventually gains the blue line, tries to thread through a couple Blue Devils, manages to do so, comes in right on goal, slams into Boulay, net comes off its moorings, and will get a stoppage. Tyler Woods went full extension, diving down to the ice in an effort to stop that piece of vulcanized rubber from finding the back of the net. Looks like wholesale changes for both sides. Might be 8 or 9 new skaters on the ice.
Freshening the legs, each team has a shade over 20 players on their active rosters. And so, very few scratches, if any. Anyone who's fit to play, I imagine, is playing today, including a couple who aren't on the varsity roster.
Centering pass off the stick of Lucas Richard. Doesn't find its intended target. Chance now going the other way for Leominster. Brandon LeBlanc will take it back behind the Fitchburg Monty Tech end. He'll try to send it off for Parker. Jaramillo pokes it away. Now Berkio, he's got Colin Hines. Hines gains the blue line, looks for a centering pass. He'll leave it off for Jaramillo. Wide open shot, pings off the iron, and then goes all the way up to the ceiling. That had some mustard on it, Danny.
Yes, it did. It went right into the ceiling. I don't think it's ever coming back unless it already did.
It did.
Yep.
It did not go into the ceiling. It bounced off of the ceiling.
I thought it did go in there for a moment.
It almost had the velocity.
It's done it before. There are some seams that if you hit the ceiling in the right spot, it will go up there and disappear. Like the old Metrodome roof.
It's another stoppage coming up as a shot from the point off the stick of Brett Mayu was deflected by Declan Calais. That one found the netting before returning to the ice.
And if it does get stuck in there, you kind of hope it never comes back down, because what if it comes back down while hockey is being played?
That would be bad. That activates multi-puck, right?
Yeah, the bonus puck. That makes everything go crazy. And then it does become Calvin ball until the whistle blows.
Richard can't keep it in. Chance for the Blue Devils coming the other way. Parker tries to skate through the entire Fitchburg Monty Tech side. That goes about as well as you might imagine. Now LeBlanc will apply pressure. Fitchburg Monty Tech is able to clear. Aiden Dale tries to send it in off his teammate. That doesn't work out. Comes back into the Leominster end and is sent all the way down, and we get an icing. Can I complain about something real quick, Dan?
Sure.
Leominster has a player named Dale, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a player named Chip, so I can't go for a Rescue Rangers joke. They don't have a player named Hill, so I can't go for like over Hill over Dale. I have nothing to work with. My life is so hard. They don't even have a player named Earnhardt. Difficulties of being a commentator, honestly.
At least Aiden Dale's wearing the right number if he was going to invoke his inner Earnhardt.
Exactly. This is Carter Moget. Loses the handle, grabbed by Peters. Peters sends it off for Pruno. Pruno's shot trickles in. Comes back loose in front. Shot from the left side is deflected. Pruno will gather again. Sends it along the far side boards for Leader. Leader tries a shot, but it's blocked. Peters will give chase as it trickles down into the Fitchburg Monty Tech zone. 9.5 minutes to go, second period. Red Raiders lead the Blue Devils 3-0. Cross ice pass for Kucher is right on the stick. Kucher gains the blue line, takes a shot, save made by Boulay. Deflected back to his right side. Cleared up by the Blue Devils onto the stick of Wyatt Peters, and the captain will send it down the other side. Fitchburg Monty Tech will change. Chance for the Blue Devils. They just dump it out. Comes out to Leader once again. And Leader will send it all the way down the ice, and we'll get a face-off. After the icing, it'll be back in Fitchburg Monty Tech's side. Shots on goal 19-7 in favor of the Red Raiders.
That's 6-1 in this period, and the one shot that Leominster's had was a dump-in on Minardi. I think about 3 or 4 of their shots on goal have just been dump-ins that have found its way to the keeper.
Shot from the point goes wide. Grabbed there by Armstrong. Fought for in the right wing corner. Goes back, now comes along the near side boards. Dangerous loose puck. Just skirted along there by Jordan Adu. Centering pass attempted but blocked. Pass intercepted, shot save made by Minardi. Really hasn't been tested that often, but he's turned away everything so far. Pass goes off the stick of Aiden Dale, bounces up into the 4th or 5th row. Gentleman in the cargo pants will retrieve it. Very useful cargo pants. They get a bad rap. Face off to the right side of Minardi. Goes to a stalemate, but is picked up by Plunkett. He'll send it all the way down. Boulay wanted to play it, but then decided not to, and he's rewarded with an icing. So we'll get another face-off in the offensive zone for the Blue Devils as they try to claw back into this one, still trailing 3-0.
Thought about it for a moment. Looked like he wanted to play it along, and then he realized, oh, it will be icing if I let this go. I'll just do that.
That's smart. Parker and Jaramillo will face off once again. Advantage this time goes to Parker. Shot by Adu. Nice save by Minardi. Probably the most dangerous opportunity the Blue Devils have had.
Definitely, at least in this period. See a couple of personnel for the Red Raiders on this line. You know, Jaramillo serving as the leader of this line, but paired with Nick Atkins and Gavin Roy. We hadn't seen too much of today up to this moment, but, you know, find a way to cycle them in and gives them some veteran leadership to work with.
Mayu sends it forward for Roy. Finds the stick of Adu. He'll send it all the way down the ice. Picked up by Mayu. He drops it for Nick Atkins, who clears the zone, and that's about it. Sent right back in, goes on to Minardi. He steers it to the right side for Atkins. Atkins trying to skate it out. That's Jaramillo. He gains the red line and the Leominster Blues. Sam Jaramillo taking on the entire Blue Devil roster. Almost made something successful happen with it. Comes to Roy on the boards. His centering pass finds no one in particular. Ronan Duval will pick it up for Leominster. Send it along the far side where it finds Zach Plunkett. Plunkett plays it off the boards for Jaramillo. He gets tied up with Jacob Malloy, and it winds up with Dominic Bork. Bork sends it along the right wing corner, goes behind the net. Malloy falls on his backside trying to play the puck. He's 1-on-3 in there. That hardly seems fair. Great job keeping it in by Kyle Moyen. Shot trickles in on Minardi. Red Raiders will change. Nick Paquette sends it back behind the net. Cleared out there. Grabbed by Cody Larson. He can't get it in, but Kyle Moyen can. Chased in the right wing corner by Dylan Gaudreau. Played along the near side boards, comes to Woods. Woods cross-ice pass finds no one in particular. I think Cody Larson was heading for a change. Woods didn't know that. Now a chance for Fitchburg Monty Tech. Paquette skates around one man, passes, can't quite find Cole Howard. Howard had a chance. His shot goes off the stick of Boulay. Now another centering pass shot. No! Just to the right side for Tyler Brassard. Senior captain was trying to find a goal on senior day. Couldn't do it there. Intercepted by Paquette. Another chance for the Red Raiders. Paquette's shot goes just to the left of Boulay. Centering pass finds no one in particular. Comes again along the near side. Finally grabbed for Leominster by Kyle Moyen. Moyen sends it along the far side boards for Jacob Turner, who manages to clear. Just under 6 minutes to go in the second period as Turner blows a tire and someone else loses a stick. All sorts of carnage happening right at the Fitchburg State logo on the far side. Armstrong tries to hit Lucas Richard. Richard gets it ahead to Kyle Gendron. Gendron will go 1-on-2 and a stick. He beats the stick. He beats one of the Blue Devils. Shot save made by Boulay. Comes out to Pruno. Now to the blue line. Kuchar turns around. He'll leave it back for Armstrong. Armstrong's shot is deflected. Goes off the boards behind Boulay. Pruno will send it forward for Gendron. Gendron takes it back behind the net to Kuchar. His shot is deflected. Goes back out to Pruno in the right wing corner. Now to Gendron behind the net. Centering pass for Pruno. Shot save made by Boulay, and he'll cover up. 5:01 to play in the second period. Jordan Boulay has had a heck of a time in net, Dan, but he's making the most of it.
That was a long run of play for the Red Raiders. A lot of zone time. Boulay needing to make a couple really good saves. He's looked, ever since the goal he conceded 19 seconds of this period, he's looked really sharp in this frame.
Faceoff will come to his left. 1 for Leominster by Carter Mauger. Now Mauger will clear. 3-on-2 for Leominster if they hurry. Mauger's got options left and right. He takes center, and the shot is saved by Minardi. Decent little opportunity for the Blue Devils there. It's a reminder for the Red Raiders, you can't let off the gas. You can't let these guys have a break because they will take every advantage you give them. Mauger will face off with Pruno. It's cleared off the skate of Kyle Gendron. Gendron trying to skate through a couple of Blue Devils, can't do it. Loose puck, shot save made by Boulay. Floats up in the air but manages to stay in play. Pruno will turn around, take another shot, and another save by Boulay. Along the near side boards now for Gendron. Trying to skate through, can't quite do it. Centering pass and another diving save by Jordan Boulay.
Yeah, I've liked Boulay's play a lot more in this period than I did in the first. I think there were a few saves that he may have gotten lucky on, just had himself in the right spot in the right time. But this second period, when he's been making the saves, it's actually been skill. He's looked way more dialed in this frame, and he's looked a lot sharper making these stops.
Face-off is won by the Blue Devils, cleared out along the far side board, sent in by Leader. Gathered there. Hines makes sure he's onside, tries a shot, it's deflected. Jordan Nadeau making much about that puck as it comes to his stick. We get a whistle.
That's going to be called against Hines there. I think they felt he might have gotten his elbow up high. Interference is going to be the call. So the puck was no longer available when he leveled Nadeau.
So Colin Hines will head to the punishment prison. He'll spend 2 minutes there or fewer. Ideally for him, he would spend 2.
That for him would be the preferred number.
Chance for the Blue Devils. I believe this is their 3rd power play, Dan?
Yes, it is.
Unsuccessful, obviously, on their first 2. Blue Devils have yet to find the back of the net. They trail 3-0 with just over 4 minutes to play here in the second period. Adou's shot goes wide. Pursued in the corner by Parker. Tries to find Adou, but it's intercepted by Berkio. Jaramillo and Berkio working together. Adou manages to grab the puck, poked away from him by Berkio, but it comes in on Boulay and he covers up. Fitchburg Monty-Tech not screwing around. They've got their top line out there for this penalty kill. Trying to make sure the Blue Devils don't get back into this one.
Solid personnel out there, and after all, if you're looking at it from a power rating perspective, 3 goals is the maximum margin of victory, so you want to win by 3 goals at the very least. Beyond the 3 goals, it doesn't really matter, but as long as you've got a margin of victory of at least 3, you get the maximum points, and that's what the Red Raiders are looking for coming into this game with Leominster.
Hines poked it off the stick of LeBlanc. Jaramillo's able to clear despite the best efforts of Adou. Sent back in by Declan Calais, but Leominster's offside, so they have to tag up. Cleared all the way down the ice. Calais will grab it for the Blue Devils. They'll reset and try again. Declan Calais, probably the fastest skater the Blue Devils have. I've been very impressed with his speed going up and down the ice. Jordan Nadeau sends that in, but it comes right to the stick of a Red Raider, and he'll dump it all the way down. Adou will try again. Comes along the near side boards for Parker. Couldn't quite handle. Peters tried to dump it in, but Parker's body gets in the way. He gets an interception. Chance for the Blue Devils, but it's poked away from Parker by Pruno. Now it comes to Mayu in the left corner, and he dumps it all the way down. About 30 seconds left on the power play as Boulay will play the puck for Cody Larson. Larson goes behind his net for Dale. Can't quite find him. It comes to Gendron instead. Gendron now chance to make something happen with the shorthanded opportunity. Grabbed by the Blue Devils, and they'll come up the other way. Jacob Turner gains the blue line, but is dispossessed. Can't quite clear it out, can Fitchburg Monty-Tech, but on the second effort, they're successful. Gendron skates around Martin. Pass over to Pruno. His shot is deflected, goes wide. Good job by Jacob Malloy to get a stick on that one. We are back to even strength with 2 minutes left in the period. Dumped in by the Blue Devils, grabbed there by Plunkett. Kept in at the blue line. Second opportunity, however, Fitchburg Monty Tech is able to clear. Larson couldn't play it. Kucher trying to make something happen. Shot. I think that's going to be counted as a goal.
No, it's not. They're not going to give that.
What? Ooh. Belay got his left glove on it, and the puck bounced out, and to the naked eye was definitely in the back of, well, not the back of the net, but the side of the net just behind the right side post as we're looking at it.
I do also think it went in, but I don't think the referee had the best line of sight on that. Wasn't quite at the goal line there to get the best look of all. And so, and also could be, parallax and all that stuff. Might have looked like it and could have caught the post. But yeah, to my naked eye, it did look like a goal to me as well. But it might have been more out of my left eye. And as I learned earlier this week, my left eye is not as good as my right.
That's entirely possible. Nick Paquette, centering pass, can't quite be gathered there by Plunkett. Broussard will dump it off for Paquette. Comes to Plunkett on the point, but he can't keep it in. Chance for the Blue Devils coming the other way. Shot is deflected. Paquette did a good job keeping that away. Never troubled his goaltender, Easton Minardi. I'm not saying Easton Minardi has had an easy go of it in the second period or anything, but he's currently lying in a hammock sipping a Mai Tai. Just saying. Brett Mayu gains the blue line. I'm kidding. He's underage. There's no underage drinking at the Wallach Civic Center. It's a virgin Mai Tai. It's fine. Dumped along the near side, and we'll get an icing with about 43 seconds to play here in the second period.
I do kind of, the roster that they do have for Fitchburg Monty Tech does list the hometowns of all the different players. I kind of wish they listed the trades for the Monty Tech kids. I'd like to know what trades that some of these kids are in, if they're in auto tech, if they're in carpentry, plumbing, graphic design, information technology. That last one was mine.
Face-off won by the Blue Devils. Mauger can't quite play it. Dumped back in by Armstrong. Goes behind the net. We've got 30 seconds left to play here in period number 2. Blue Devils looking to get it within 2 goals. Fitchburg Monty Tech would love to extend their lead. Right now, Leominster's having trouble just clearing it out, but they do. Here's an opportunity for Ryan Patton. Patton's shot save made by Minardi with the blocker on the right hand. Fought for in the left wing corner. 10 seconds in the period. If anyone's going to score, it's going to be the Blue Devils, but it doesn't look like that'll be. Chance for Berkio right in the dying moments, but the horn goes before he's denied by Boulay. Fitchburg Monty Tech had a chance in the dying moments, Dan, and they probably feel they should have had a 4th goal, but it's just 1 in the second period. We'll go to the locker rooms with the score 3-0.
And the sad part for Boulay is he stuck with Berkio at the very end and made that save, and that one's not going to count either because that was definitely after time.
It's a very impressive save, too. He went full spread eagle, kicked it away with the left skate. It's nice.
Yeah, he did well there. So, yeah, we got a goal 19 seconds in from Cody Berkio. Just snapped it as he was entering the blues, past the blue line, entering the zone. And it's a great shot there to make it 3-0, and that's the only goal we got in the period.
Yeah, as you said, Dan, aside from maybe that one instance in the dying moments where, at least to our eye, it looked like the puck was deflected off his glove and went over the line and then came back, which may or may not have actually been the case. Aside from that, it was a very impressive period for the senior goaltender Boulay.
Indeed, he comes away with 11 saves in the period and a much sharper frame for the senior keeper, sticking with those shots, more dialed in, making a lot of really nice saves. Didn't need luck for most of those. That was actually the skill coming out and shining through in the second frame.
Fitchburg Monty Tech has been the better side. I don't think anyone would argue that, but Dan, I've seen crazier things than an overmatched team scoring 3 goals in a period. This game is not over.
And I should also note, when Fitchburg Monty Tech played Oakmont on Wednesday night, they led at one point 5-1. Oakmont had different ideas, they racked off 4 in a row and tied it up, forced to overtime, where the Red Raiders ultimately prevailed, but that was a lot scarier than it needed to be.
This game is a lot tighter than it perhaps could be. Chance for the Blue Devils to get back in it. Chance for the Red Raiders to wrap it up and secure a playoff berth. Come on back for the third period in just a few minutes. It's Hockey Night in Fitchburg here on FATV. We are back at the Wallace Civic Center on the campus of Fitchburg State University. It is the rivalry on ice and senior day for Fitchburg Monty Tech. The Red Raiders of Fitchburg Monty Tech lead the Blue Devils of Leominster 3-0 as we get ready to start the third period here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined, of course, by Dan Bolak. And Dan, Fitchburg Monty Tech has basically controlled this game from the start.
They have. Shots 25-13 through 2 periods of play, 13-6, 12-7 in the 2 frames. And we were saying, in the first period, it felt like, Fitchburg Monty Tech got 2, but they could have probably had 4 or 5. In that second period, they got 1, and it felt like the way Boulay played, they deserved 1.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, aside from one incident right at the end of the period where we didn't have the best angle on it, we thought there was a goal not counted. But aside from that, Jordan Boulay really did a good job. He basically stood on his head at periods during that second period. It was very difficult for him. This Leominster defense it's difficult for a team this oversized. They are outsized is the better term. It's difficult for a team this undersized to stop those shots from coming in. It really falls on the goaltender to keep the puck out of the net. And Boulay's done that really as good as you could have asked.
He's played well. For some reason, Sam Jaramillo and Jaden Farabee are going to start this third period in the penalty box. Unless there was something that we missed at the end of the second period, they probably have misconducts against him. We'll have to see for further confirmation on that one, but that's a piece of the Red Raiders' top line that is missing, so they... I'm hearing them announce now, but I can't hear it.
I heard 22, which isn't helpful because we already knew Jaramillo was in there.
Yes, we did, and so you folks at home probably heard it better than we did, but in any case, they're starting the period in the penalty box, and because I don't remember if they do drop downs to 4-on-4 in FHS play. So
it is 5-on-5 at the moment.
Yep, so we'll see if they come out of the box the first stoppage after 2 minutes have passed, and if they don't, then we know they're in there for 10.
Didn't see anything that was really out of the ordinary.
The only close fraternizing I saw at the end of the second period was Logan Wood, the other keeper for Leominster, talking with the two of the keepers for Fitchburg Monty Tech, Owen Richard and Easton Minardi, actually went off the ice with them, which was kind of interesting.
We sometimes joke when players are punching each other about how they're exchanging dinner invitations or making nice with each other. These teams have actually been making nice with each other. They've been having friendly chats. So
yeah, we've seen them talking a lot in jovial ways in the
intermissions.
During the intermissions. I'm trying to describe what the area is in front of the locker rooms.
The hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a fancy term for that?
Is there a better way than describing that? I'm not sure. Minute 16 gone in the third period. 3-0 Red Raiders.
The Egris Foyer. There we go.
There are terms, but we'll leave it there. I mean, they may be hard-hitting on the ice, but I don't think these two teams really hate each other at heart. There are probably a lot of players who've played in the same junior systems growing up as well. It is the Twin Cities after all, and it's Twin City, the Wachusett youth leagues, and all that stuff. So there's probably a lot of these players do know each other pretty well. Hunter Kuchar on the near side will skate up ice, 2-on-2 with Gendron. Kuchar takes the bad angle shot, gobbled up by Boulay, slips out of his glove, but picked up by the Blue Devils. Distributed out to the near side for Dylan Gaudreau, and we have a whistle. And the faceoff's going to come back down to one side of Boulay. And this is the first stoppage after 2 minutes, and we see Jaramillo and Farabee are out of the box. So it was some form of roughing, unsportsmanlike conduct, what have you, that occurred at the 15-minute mark of the end of the second period. That penalty box door is still open. Let's see how long it takes for the referee to notice it. Anyway, draw comes to the left of Boulay, will be won by the Blue Devils just for a brief moment. As Fitchburg Monty able to get it out in front, not a clean shot taken. And now Leominster brings it out to the neutral zone, no farther than that. Haas for the Red Raiders into the zone with some nifty moves, gets the pass off. Backhanded, but wide. The official has noticed now and has shut the door. And so all the hatches have been battened. On the near side, here's Jordan Adu into the zone with 2 Red Raiders on him, dancing around them into that left wing corner. Now trying to jam it in front. Minardi's already down, got that sealed up, and he keeps that out for a draw. 2:45 gone. Now, we were talking about, the friendliness that there is sort of between these two teams. That's very necessary when it comes to girls hockey because Leominster and Fitchburg are actually playing together in girls hockey this year.
That must be awkward.
Imagine it can be. There's a shot and a goal for Leominster. It was taken by Jordan Adu at the right point. Might have been tipped on the way. But the Blue Devils are on the board with 12:11 to go in the third.
What did we say, Dan? We've seen stranger things. Fitchburg Monty Tech had plenty of opportunities, especially in the first period, but a couple in the second they weren't able to capitalize. And don't look now, but this is just a 2-goal game. Leominster is still in it.
And now, as we mentioned, for those power rating purposes, Fitchburg Monty Tech is going to be quite motivated to get themselves a 4th goal and restore that 3-goal lead. They cannot rest on their laurels, especially what happened on Wednesday night. On the far side, Carter Moget move it along, but it'll be taken by the Red Raiders.
Resting on your loyals is how leaders get betrayed, right? You just take people for granted.
Sounds like it was a Adu unassisted. And now a 2-on-1 developing here. Paquette into the zone, tries to get it across for Roy. That's broken up. Here's a leader with a shot. High riser misses. Roy tries to backhand towards goal, doesn't get it cleanly away. Paquette on the left side, trying to protect. Now to the left point. Peters can't throw it back towards goal. It goes off a Blue Devil and out of the zone. Leader will go and retrieve on his own blue line. Nick Atkins now tries to move it along for Roy. Roy in the left circle, shoots. It's punched away by Boulay. 25 saves for the senior keeper.
About 95% of Gavin Roy's body was offside there. And you just saw it again. Fitchburg Monty Tech knew that puck had crossed the blue line, so they waited to tag up. Leominster got an opportunity to play it.
Now trying to get it back in the zone. Will Parker gets in the way of that. Nifty move. And now another one as he gains the zone, drops it off left side. Shot is blocked.
We got word that there was a roughing call against Jaden Farabee and interference on Jaramillo. Both of those happened on ice right at the end of the second period, so that was the reason those gentlemen were in the penalty box to start the third.
Didn't get a good look at it live, but that is indeed what happened.
In addition to being our camera operator, audio engineer, graphics technician, general setup guy, and dude who's in charge of everything, Nate Glennie is also a well-sourced executive exclusive breaking news reporter, apparently.
He's got that pedigree.
That sounds about right.
Worked for a 4-letter station out of Boston in the past.
There you go.
There's a penalty against Leominster, and going to the box is Cody Larson.
We also have a developing situation here. Jordan Boulay is stretching out his leg a little bit. He might have tweaked something. Looks like he's grabbing maybe at the left hamstring.
Saw there was a point where he was basically on his side stacking the pads because that was the position that he'd contorted himself into, and just hoping that that shot wasn't going to come cleanly through on the right side from Mayu. But to his credit, it was blocked, and now Brandon LeBlanc trying to race in the zone, trying to create a shorthanded opportunity. Gets the shot away, but it's gloved by Minardi.
Keep an eye on Boulay. Seems to be moving pretty well. Takes a glance back at the scoreboard, confirming that there is indeed 1:51 to play on the man advantage for Fitchburg Monty Tech.
Now off the draw, Leominster trying to control it. They're on the kill, but they've got some good puck possession here, and they get a shot away. That will be turned aside by Minardi. Now Fitchburg Tech moves it up ice. Berkio just not able to hold the blue line. And he's going to be called for the offside.
Was looking like a very dangerous opportunity for the Red Raiders, although part of it was because Berkio was offside after all.
And he'll be penalized a little further, will bring the faceoff back to the red line. Because there was a little bit of intention on that. He was definitely not trying to jump it on purpose, but trying to jump it when in turning that offside. So a little of quote-unquote intention factors in, and thus they move the faceoff back more than just outside the zone. They move it to the red line. Now here's Jaramillo trying to skate it up ice. Now they are cleanly back in the zone with 70 seconds to work with on the power play, 9:10 to go in the third. On the left side, there's a shot, stopped by Boulay, rebound, chance, scores! The second chance finds its way in the back of the net. Jaramillo with the finish restores the 3-goal lead. The Raiders strike with the power play goal from Sam Jaramillo, who gets his 9th of the season, and it's 4-1. Now trying to break right in. I believe a shot away was Hines. He throws it out to the left side, off the boards to Berkio at the left point. Slung towards goal, and tipped wide. Behind the net, out to the left side. Berkio moving it along. Here's Hines, his shot not clean. Clashing of sticks, breaking that up.
Cody Berkio.
Boulay loses his stick. That shot goes somewhere. It's also a delayed call. There's another shot that's blocked in front. Hines will pick it up. It's now 6 skaters on the ice for the Red Raiders. Boulay without his stick. It lays in the crease. Not a chance to pick it up. There's a shot by Plunkett that's blocked. Another shot flutters wide to the right. Delayed call still on. Red Raiders with 6 on the ice. Plunkett booms it off the boards. This will be picked up by Hines. And now it's finally touched up as the pass knocked down, and we'll get the penalty. It's like a slash indicated against Leominster. And Jordan Adu, who got the goal for the Blue Devils, will now sit in the sin bin. That's the most fitting time to use the phrase sin bin, I believe.
Yeah. Jordan Boulay made at least one save with basically his shoulder. As you said, Dan, he was completely without a stick for about 30 seconds at the end of that play.
Sometimes goalies feel really uncomfortable when they don't have their stick. It's just losing a part of them. Shot save, rebound, scores! Berkio in front. After Boulay stopped the initial shot by Peters, Berkio right on the doorstep for his second, makes it 5-1.
Thought for a second after that goal by Adu that Leominster was looking for a comeback. Fitchburg Tech said, not so fast. They extend the lead, get the maximum points for power ranking purposes, and then add a 4th for good measure.
Get a little bit of insurance there to make it 5-1. 2 power play goals for the Red Raiders. Coming in a pretty close span. Just a minute 17 separating those 2 goals. Not at all the fastest 2 the Raiders have had this season. So there's a shot by Mayu that's cut down. Kucher trying to get a stick in there, but Boulay turning those aside. Gendron knocked down. Peters will get the lone assist. It's on the left side. There's a shot saved by Boulay, another chance. Boulay continues to stand tall. The Leominster defense also shoring up their 31 saves for the senior netminder. Thrown in from a bad angle. Minardi had that low post sealed, and he's able to keep that out and hold 4 draw. He's up to 19 saves on the contest. Minardi has played all 3 games against Leominster this year. Boulay, this is the first that he's actually seen the Red Raiders. Logan Wood had to start the other 2 games.
It's been a bit of a tough third period for Boulay, but for the most part, again, he's doing everything that can be asked of him. It's just when you're facing 36 shots and they're mostly high-quality, good scoring chances, some of them are going to get in the net.
Indeed they will. Leominster, they've found a goal in each of the 3 games now against Fitchburg-Monty Tech, but just one. It's a hard hit, a shot, a redirection, and it floats just wide of the near post. Nearly intercepting that one was Parker, getting his stick on the way.
Cole Howard was looking at the referee like, why isn't there a penalty for that huge hit that leveled him?
We have a whistle here, and a cross-check has been indicated. Looks like the Red Raiders going back on the power play, as Declan Calais will sit for 2. .6:17 to go in the third period, 5-1, Fitchburg-Monty Tech in front. It's the last game that these 2 teams will be playing before the seedings for the CMATA tournament come out on Tuesday. It's a shot from Leader redirected in front, and Boulay will track that one. See a very youthful line out there with Austin Haas, Nick Atkins, and Gavin Roy up front. Jackson Leader out there as well, along with Wyatt Peters, who is the veteran, if you will. Raiders to the left point, and Peters cannot keep that in the zone. And the puck floats just wide. Just in case you were wondering if the puck had gone in, it would not have counted in that particular circumstance.
Dumped in an offside situation.
There's a point where Dominic Koshik actually did that one time. He let a puck go in knowing that there was a delayed offside against the other team. And that caught everyone out for a moment. The goal horns went off, and then there was like, oh. It's like, why did he do that? Oh, it didn't matter. And I know as a goalie, too, there have been times where I know if there's a delayed offside, I'm looking at the referee, watching his hand up, and if I'm down trying to get myself up, I know I can take just a brief extra second to get myself back up and situated, because I know even if they get a hold of it, the whistle's going to blow. It's just the rules of ice hockey, you know.
That's true.
Zach Plunkett trying to play it in front of the Leominster bench. Puck continues to make its way along the boards. Now brought free by Austin Haas. He's got an assist in this contest. Haas brings it in, gets the shot off Boulay with the save. Atkins in front. That's loose. And Boulay struggling to get down on top of that, but he's able to get there just in time as the Blue Devils, you can see them positioning themselves in front of the blue paint and not letting anybody pass, giving Boulay the time to get that puck covered.
That was a dangerous few seconds with that puck trickling away from Boulay. He had to reposition himself and stretch out to cover it, but he was able to do so. Minute 1 left for the power play as Declan Calais remains in the admonishment zone.
Roy tries to center, nothing going there. Plunkett blows a tire. Comes back out to the blue line. Alex Armstrong trying to move it along. He switched out there for Peters on this power play. I believe it's all underclassmen on the ice at the moment for Fitchburg-Monty Tech. Even in goal, we've talked about it a little bit this year. Fitchburg-Monty Tech's got 3 goaltenders. They are all sophomores. And Steve Lowney was telling the Gardner News a couple of weeks ago, coming into the season, they didn't really have any quote-unquote varsity-ready goaltenders. There's a strong backhand by Haas, stopped by Boulay, and they'll cover for a draw. At the end, between the 3 keepers, they had 22 and a half minutes of varsity experience.
It's not as many as you'd like, ideally.
And so it was going to be trial by fire. Someone was going to have to take the reins, or some goalies were going to have to take the reins. The goaltending has been split between the 2 keepers in Easton Minardi and Owen Richard. Matt Daigle served as the 3rd choice. He's got a couple of years that he sat on varsity experience, but hasn't gotten any ice time as of yet. Penalty is up now to Calais. He makes his way out of the penalty box. And The Blue Devils back to full strength with 4:07 to go in the game. A 5-1 lead for Fitchburg Monty Tech. Shots 40-20 in favor of the Red and Gray as they look to sweep the season series and take 2 out of 3 on rivalry weekend. And now Jaramillo all by himself there, but he's going to wait for his teammate Berkio, and offside.
Jaramillo maybe dumped the puck off for Berkio, but then took one step too many across the blue line before it was actually gathered.
It was actually Howard, excuse me, on that one. But I can see why he was waiting there, trying to feed Howard for a goal on senior day. Howard had 3 goals last year for the Red Raiders, has not got a goal to his count this season. So probably trying to set him up, see if they can get him one. Although if it had been Berkio, it would have been trying to set him up for a hat trick, so motivation would have been there for either player. Here's Jaramillo with moves, trying to get himself open. Lucas Richard trying to get a shot off, doesn't come cleanly away. You can see Tyler Brassard's out there as well. I think they're trying to get as many seniors out there as they can, really. I think they've got 4 at the moment. Trying to see if they can find themselves a late goal to give one of them a gift. Here's Jaramillo. Drops it off for Brassard. Brassard protects, doubles back on the left side. There's a shot that goes wide. Now Lucas Richard throws it behind the net, off the boards, picked up on the far side by Kyle Moyen. Gets it just out of the zone. Red Raiders going to have to tag up with 2:50 to go. They lead by 4. Brett Mayu trying to protect the puck. You have Jaramillo out there as one of those veterans. He leads the team in assists, coming in with 20. And he's had at least 1 today. So who better to try to distribute the puck to a senior than him? But legs get tired.
Earlier this season, I compared Jaramillo's play to that of a point guard in basketball. Very rarely do you see one player control the puck so often when he's on the ice, but it seems like if 22's on the ice, he's at least around the puck.
He's got a nose for it, and just a junior as well. This Fitchburg Monty Tech side will still be stacked with experience going into next season as well, as they're just 2 minutes away from their 10th win, which will guarantee them entry into the MLAA state playoffs. That's dumped down and will be icing. The whistle will blow with 1:52 on the clock. 4-goal lead for Fitchburg Monty Tech.
Want to mention once again the upcoming schedule for both of these teams. Leominster will play their final game of the regular season next Monday, February the 20th. That'll be at Wachusett. Fitchburg Monty Tech has a couple games left. They get Worcester this coming Wednesday, and then next Tuesday the 21st, they travel to Shawsheen.
That one off the, thought that might have been off the back bar, but they'll say it's off the front post, the crossbar there. So that won't be given. Another close chance there. And of course, there will be games in the CMATA tournament, as that one goes in the netting out of play. We will find out those matchups on Tuesday, the 14th. And so until then, and we won't know exactly what divisions they'll be slotted to. Last year they did 3 divisions, A, B, and C, 8 teams in A, 8 teams in B, and 5 teams in C, the remaining ones. This year they've got another team in Central Mass because Grafton and Blackstone Valley Tech were forced to break up. They had too many players, so they had to be 2 separate teams now. So
That's
now
a good reason.
Yep, so they have another team in Central Mass, so those distributions won't be exactly the same this time around. And with a year of having done it under their belts, now they have a better idea how they want to run things. So we'll see what the structures and all that, where they're going to place teams. For instance, they don't do them blindly by regular divisional alignment. For instance, last year, Hopedale Milford, who's a Division III side, they were placed in the A division because that's how strong they were last year. And so we'll see where they slot everybody and how they want to adjust things. So there's a high rising shot over the net, taken by Jacob Turner. Austin Haas has it for the Red Raiders with 65 seconds left. And we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on those matchups, and we'll be able to cover them. We will let you know. Follow FATV on social media for more information and updates.
Got to say, FATV's Instagram presence has really stepped up in the past few weeks. A lot of upcoming schedule announcements. You always know what's coming. Follow Fitchburg Access TV on Instagram. Why not?
Twitter and Facebook as well. Reach 30 seconds to go in regulation time. 4-goal lead for the Red Raiders. We'll try one more time to see if they can get some seniors a goal. 20 seconds left. Red Raiders have to tag up. Blue Devils ready to break out one more time. Moyer, a pass up. Past Calais. Now back behind the net with 7 seconds left. We'll try one more time, but there's just not going to be enough time. We'll let the clock run out. And Fitchburg Monty Tech on Senior Day will take a 5-1 victory.
Got a little dicey for the Red Raiders in the first half of this third period. Leominster made it 3-1. You thought maybe a comeback was in the offing, but then 2 quick goals by Fitchburg Monty Tech snuffed out any hope, and the Red Raiders controlled the play from there. A dominant, convincing 5-1 victory.
Final shots 41-20 in favor of the Red and Gray. In that third period, it was 16-7. And it was quite clear from the get-go that Fitchburg Monty Tech was the better team. They wait for the goaltenders, the starters, to lead the handshake lines there. Easton Minardi and Jordan Boulay. 36 saves for Boulay. I think this was by far his best game this season.
Yeah, he did really everything that could be expected of him. It was a difficult task, just constantly under pressure from Fitchburg Monty Tech, diving with saves, losing his stick at times. Yes, he conceded 5 goals, but it could have been a lot worse than that. Jordan Boulay acquitted himself very well in goal for the Blue Devils. And honestly, Dan, on the other side, Easton Minardi had a good game too.
He did, finishes with 19 saves. A solid contest for the sophomore, who's gotten to know this Blue Devil side quite well. He's played them all 3 games this year. And this time around, it's the most saves I believe he's had to make this year against them. 14 in the first meeting, 16 in the second, 19 this time around. The one shot, a high riser through traffic, found one of the corners. Was going to be a challenging shot for anybody to stop.
Just an all-around dominant win for Fitchburg Monty Tech. You know, a lot of times you come in, you think a game's going to be one-sided, and it's a little interesting, it's a little tighter than you expect. You get an upset, you get a wamboozle every decade or so. But this one played out roughly as you would have expected.
It did. 5-1. Maybe some might have expected maybe a little more lopsided, but I think for the Blue Devils, holding the Red Raiders to 5, I think is something that can at least try to build a little bit on. As mentioned, they only have one more regular season game. Last year, as I mentioned with the CMOD, as they did actually seed everybody into a bracket somewhere. So they may also have a Central Mass playoff game coming. The odds of them getting into the state tournament, very unlikely. Only 42 teams in Division II, and they take the top 32, but they seem to be a bit away from that number 32 spot. So that's probably not happening this season. But obviously still a lot of time to try to rebuild this program, and things don't happen instantaneously. And after all, could just be, just waiting for a good young class to come in and start taking the reins. We've seen a few freshmen on this team already, 6 in all, and we saw a lot of them get significant playing time, like Carter Moget and Kyle Moyen. And so there's definitely still some youth in this Leominster side. They do have 7 seniors they'll be graduating, including Boulay.
No, it absolutely is, obviously the shocking statement alert. The Leominster hockey program is not where they want it to be right now. It's not as good as it has been in the past. These, I'm sure, are stunning, controversial, provocative statements that we'll get emails about. But that having been said, there are some building blocks here. There are some positive signs for the future. There's hope for the years to come for the Leominster side. So they're in a difficult spot right now. They just lost 5-1 to Fitchburg, but this is not the end of the line for them. There will be other years, there will be other players, and they have some room to grow. This is a team that is on the come-up, I think.
And at the very least, the girls' team doing very well, 11-4-1 right now. It's probably their best season ever.
Hey, how about that?
It's one of their best seasons in very recent memory. And so there's something to look forward to. And as we mentioned, for Fitchburg Monty Tech fans, you can happily root for that Leominster girls' team. After all,
it's your girls' team too.
Yeah. There are Fitchburg and Monty Tech students who are playing for that Leominster side.
There you go. It's the Twin Cities girls hockey team.
I've just been calling them North County.
There you
It's
go.
basically a dozen teams up in north central Massachusetts. All the girls' teams in Central Mass have been really good this year. There was even one of them won a state title last year.
Hey. So plenty of hockey to root for. We thank you all so much for being here with us for this 5-1 Fitchburg Monty Tech win. Dan, your final thoughts before we tell the people to go away and do something else?
Fitchburg Monty Tech played the game that they needed to do. The big goal, as we mentioned, is win by at least 3 goals so you can get those maximum power rating points, and they did just that. They controlled the run of play throughout and helped limit any of the high danger chances to Easton Menardi. Just that one goal there for Jordan to do was the only real dangerous snipe for Leominster in the contest. And they did well, and peppering Jordan Boulay had to make him work a lot. That was the type of game the Red Raiders definitely wanted to play, and they've got a team in Worcester coming up on the 15th who come in with a similar 1-15 record before playing one of the best teams in D4 in Shawsheen Valley Tech with a 13-2-1 record coming in. And so that's going to be probably a bit of a wake-up call, but of course there's also playoffs coming up. And again, once we know what the playoff matchups are, once we know if and when those are, and if it's viable for us to broadcast it, we will let you know.
Stay tuned to FATV. Follow Fitchburg Access Television on your social media platform of choice. Until next time we see you, for Dan Bolak and our Executive Director, Nate Glennie, who brought you all the sights and sounds from the Wallace Civic Center today, I'm John Gugerty saying thank you so much for being with us for Hockey Night in Fitchburg, right here on FATV.